to the podium. Today, we are fortunate to be joined by some true heroes in our community. The DuPage nonprofit groups here today are providing essential help to our residents in need in the areas of mental health and substance use disorder, housing, and food insecurity. Due to the investment of this county board, our DuPage Community Transformation Partnership with DuPage Foundation will award almost $1.3 million in immediate intervention grants this morning to help 18 DuPage County organizations on the front lines providing vital services. I want to thank Human Services Chairman Greg Schwarzy and Vice Chair Paula Deacon Garcia, who have played an active and important role representing our board throughout this process. And I want to thank the DuPage Foundation's president and CEO, Mike Sitrick, and Grant Committee Chairman, Megan Seebeck, for their work to gather and to review applications and get us to this day and these awards. Member Schwarzy, would you please share a few thoughts?
Thank you, Chair Conroy. This is very exciting. Just want to say the immediate intervention grants that we are giving out today are an essential component of the overall DuPage Community Transformational Partnership. Through this program, we as partners, the DuPage County Board and our grant committee, have the opportunity to change lives and address the most pressing needs in our county. We will do that by awarding the 2023 immediate intervention grants today. I'm grateful to Member Garcia for her many contributions to this process, and I'm grateful to our entire grant committee led by Megan Shebeck here. I am very, very proud of this partnership that we have with the DuPage Foundation, the DuPage County Board and the DuPage Foundation. We've worked really, really well together throughout this entire grant process. Our ability to collaborate so effectively leads to today's grant awards, which we know will make an important impact on the community. And I'm going to introduce Mike Sitrick now from the DuPage Foundation.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning, everyone. I want to start off by thanking you, Paula, Chair Conroy, and the entire county board for this investment in our community. It's been a pleasure to collaborate with you on this powerful partnership that's providing critical relief to our most vulnerable residents and building systems that will provide transformational solutions to some of our county's most pressing challenges. As of today, we've now collectively awarded approximately $6.2 million from the DCTP. The county and DuPage Foundation share a common interest in leading efforts to raise the quality of life throughout DuPage. And a critical part of leading is being open to collaboration and identifying partners who can help you achieve your vision. I want to commend the county for its vision in forging this partnership with us. We're deeply grateful for your confidence and trust. Despite being one of Illinois' wealthiest counties, more than 1 in 4 households in DuPage County are struggling to meet basic needs. And issues like substance abuse, mental health challenges, food insecurity, and housing instability are pervasive. DuPage Foundation works daily with donors, community leaders, local businesses, and our not-for-profits to help address those and other issues. But we can't do it alone. It takes partners who share our dedication, along with considerable resources to effect lasting change. Your $10 million investment in the DCTP and other grants you've made on behalf of our area not-for-profits are proof of your commitment to making DuPage a great place to live, work, and raise a family. Without this support, we and our grantees receiving funding today couldn't do the work that we do. And I want you to also know that your investment has served as a catalyst to inspire others to help. Of the nearly $1.3 million being given away today, $200,000 was leveraged by grants from local donors who recommended them from their funds at DuPage Foundation. So this is coordinated impact in action. So as I conclude, again, I want to thank our entire DCTP committee for their exceptional work, especially members Schwarzy and Garcia, DCTP Chair Megan Shebeck, Betsy Brosnan, Deb DeVere, Laura Ernst, Mary Keating, and Candace King. I also want to acknowledge my colleagues Barb Sapaniak, our Vice President for Programs, and members of our finance team, David Wise and Matt Wilson, who couldn't be with us today, but have been integral in implementing this partnership. In front of you, there's a handout where you can learn more about the phenomenal impact our award-winning partnership is making together. I encourage you to take a look at that. And again, my thanks to you all for your continued efforts and invest in our community. Together, we're going to keep doing a world of good in our own backyard.
Today, we are awarding immediate intervention grants in 3 categories: mental health and substance use disorder, house insecurity, and food insecurity. Greg, Mike, and I will invite grantees from each category to the podium, present the awards with Megan and Paula's help, and then we will take a group photo. Megan and Paula, would you please join me at the podium? Okay, I'll begin with the mental health and substance use disorder category. Would the grantees in this category please join me at the podium? The organizations who will receive immediate intervention grant awards for 2023 are Alive Center, DuPage Pads, Easter Seals DuPage and Fox Valley, Glen Ellen Children's Resource Center, Healthcare Alternative Systems, Northeast DuPage Family and Youth Services, Samara Care, We Go Together for Kids. Congratulations all. Okay, if the grantees would still remain here, Mike, will you please take the next category, housing insecurity?
Thanks, Chair Conway. The organizations receiving immediate impact grant awards for 2023 are Catholic Charities, Midwest Shelter for Homeless Veterans, Senior Home Sharing, Sharing Connections, the Salvation Army, Oak Brook Terrace, and World Relief Chicagoland. Congratulations to all of you. Greg, would you take our final category, food insecurity?
Thanks, Mike. The organizations receiving immediate intervention grant awards addressing food insecurity for 2023 are Hope's Front Door, Humanitarian Service Project, Loaves and Fishes Community Services, and People's Resource Center. So we want to thank all those who applied. We look forward to learning more about the impact of these grants. So here to say a few words and represent all of our immediate intervention grant winners is Susan Sperry, Executive Director of World Relief Chicagoland.
DuPage County Board, DuPage Foundation. I think I speak on behalf of all of the grantees when I say thank you for your generosity and your investment in our DuPage community. At World Relief, we're seeing your generosity both through this immediate intervention grant and also the transformation grant last year that is helping us become a Medicaid mental health provider to strengthen and grow counseling services for immigrants. On behalf of everyone who will be impacted through this investment, thank you. World Relief Chicagoland provides holistic services to immigrants and refugees, helping them move from vulnerable situations to places of stability and long-term integration within our community. And we do this in partnership with local churches, volunteers, and members of the community. The nearly 2,000 DuPage residents who we served this past year have made DuPage County their home because they believe it's a great place to live, work, and raise their families. Many have also come to be close to relatives and friends who live in this area. We all know that safe, stable housing is vital for good mental health, for long-term employment prospects, and financial well-being. However, getting and keeping stable housing has been jeopardized by the lack of availability of affordable housing and a lot of demand for rental housing, but also by low wages and unemployment and physical and mental health conditions. That's why we're so grateful to receive this immediate intervention grant. This grant is going to make a difference in the housing situations of 250 people in DuPage County. This grant will support the hiring of a housing coordinator at World Relief who will serve low-income, homeless, or housing insecure immigrants and refugees. This coordinator will build relationships with property managers and landlords, helping people enter into a rental agreement and providing housing-related support. This grant will also help us provide direct rental assistance for people at risk of eviction and to cover rental deposits for people who need that in order to access their housing. And I want to offer a picture of the impact we expect this grant to have through the story of a man named Jose. Jose lost his job during the pandemic and was unable to cover the cost of his rent and eventually lost his apartment. When he was referred to World Relief by a local church partner, he was living out of his car and working odd jobs. He was receiving case management assistance elsewhere, but he needed the help of World Relief to cover the cost of a security deposit and furnish the apartment. Through supports very similar to this immediate intervention grant, World Relief was able to help Jose with his security deposit and first month of rent and provide donated furniture for his apartment. He was able to move out of his car with his family and create a place of stability for them to grow and thrive. We're confident that that is a picture of the impact this immediate intervention grant will have in the lives of our community members, helping families like Jose find the housing stability that they so desperately need and moving toward their vocational health and financial goals. On behalf of all of us here, we want to say thank you for the incredible impact we know this will have. Thank you.
In total, once again, today, this board has distributed nearly 1.3 million to our community. I ask our grantees, Member Schwarzy and Garcia, and the foundation board representatives to join us for a photo with our very large check representing this total amount. Okay, just a few notes to add to my chair remarks today. Thanks to all of our county staff who assisted our municipal partners and other counties impacted by last week's tornado touchdowns. We had emergency management staff assisting with damage assessment in Kane County on Thursday. This week, transportation staff and equipment are in Macomb, Illinois, helping with the cleanup. I'd like to congratulate our DuPage County Clerk, Jean Kazmarek, and her staff who won the 2023 Innovator Award for Elections, given out by the International Association of Government Officials. DuPage's Innovator Award entry was the creation of a mail voting signature comparison procedure. This new procedure allowed teams of election judges to view multiple voter signatures on file instead of just one. This change led to a 77% decrease in the number of signature challenges for our mail ballots. Congratulations on receiving this honor. And finally, as a reminder, today at 1 p.m., board members are invited to gather at the DuPage County Animal Shelter for the groundbreaking ceremony as we begin the expansion and new building on that project. Hope you can all join us. Okay, on the matter of public comment, according to our county board rules, members of the public shall be afforded time to address the board. Individual remarks shall not exceed 3 minutes in length, nor shall the total time provided for all remarks exceed 30 minutes. Our first speaker is
Mike Havilah.
oh,
Sure. Catherine Lynott.
Hi there. Thanks for giving me an opportunity to speak today. My name is Catherine Lynott. I'm Executive Director of the Outreach House in Lombard. We have 4 programs. We have a food pantry, closed closet, an infant needs program, and we also help with emergency assistance. We moved into our new location just under a year ago. We're celebrating our 1-year anniversary next month. And in that time, we've doubled the number of people that we're serving. So we've gone from about 200 families a week to now 400. I'm here just to say a huge thank you to the board for granting ARPA funds to the Northern Illinois Food Bank to support us in providing healthy food to our guests. I post quite regularly on our Facebook page photos of the produce that we get on a weekly basis. And it would just cheer you up just to look at the photos, you know, like when we go to the store and we have a full selection of fresh fruit and vegetables, it brings a certain amount of joy to our lives. And I think, you know, there's one thing about nutrition, but there's also bringing joy to people's hearts and people's lives. And having fresh, beautiful, colorful, healthy fruit and vegetables to offer our guests has really been incredible. So really just a heartfelt thank you from the Outreach House for those funds. Thank you.
Mike Havilah.
Good morning, everybody. First of all, I want to thank DuPage County, the board and staff for their support of the ARPA funding for the produce for families that are suffering from food insecurity. So I wanted to make a couple of comments with respect to that. And again, I'm speaking on behalf of Loaves and Fishes. You know, this program has been amazing. It's been just absolutely amazing. It has benefited thousands and thousands of people that we serve each week. We serve over 8,000 people a week. That is up from about 3,000 people a week from about 18 months ago. So the need has grown significantly. And our experience with this program has been very, very good through our working with Northern Illinois Food Bank. The produce has been good quality, it's been good variety. The families that we see taking this food from our market have been very happy with it as well. What I'll also say is it's very helpful in executing this program is to have the infrastructure involved, which means buildings, it means storage, cold storage, it means people, it means equipment, it means you know, all the things that you need to make this happen. And also, I would say that it's also important that the produce, because it's perishable, of course, is turned over fast to our clients. And so a lot of the produce that we get is in clients' hands in less than 24 hours. So it's important to have frequent distributions to clients through the course as well, too. So again, I just wanted to thank everybody and also wanted to make sure that that people understood that this is not just an important program, but I would say it's a critical program given the rapidly increasing need that we're seeing in the community with respect to food insecurity. So again, thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Eric Spandy. Eric, Mr. Spandy. President of Illinois Prairie Path Corporation.
I am not Eric Spandy. My name is Dennis Turdy. I'm representing the Illinois Prairie Path. And this may be a little presumptuous because I noticed it's item 21D on the transportation agenda. So I just want to make a comment regarding a new cooperative agreement. I've been on the Prairie Path Board for about 7 years. I want to thank this board and many of my friends who are out there. It's really very cool to be here. As you all know, 62 miles of the Prairie Path, or many of you know, it represents 62 miles of pathway through the mostly DuPage County and neighboring DuPage and Kane and Cook counties. And as many of you probably know, it's an incredible historical resource as well as a general resource for all of our communities. People that use it's just incredible numbers all the time. In particular, I just listened to Deacon DeFino's comment. I think we could say maybe that the path is a part of the goodness for our community. It really did provide a lot of relief for people during COVID. We had amazing comments that make it, the presentations that just came are more touching than driving a path, believe me. But it really is clear how the path had served a purpose. We thank you for your support with this new cooperative agreement with our path. It's not mine, it's our path. And to help us continue our advocacy and general work. Community support for the path was exhibited especially recently this spring with over 400 volunteers representing 16 groups and Ms. Rutledge, excuse me, I didn't get your correct title, but serving as our cleanup for this incredible, awful weather day. It was just awful, but we still had people cleaning up. So I'd also like to make one special thank you to Sid Kenyon, who's on staff with it for his incredibly prompt support of anything we request. Oh my goodness, I'll ride the path, find a hole and say, Sid, we got a hole over here, and the crew's out within a day. And I have no power, I'm just a volunteer. So that's really very cool. So once again, thank you. Thank you so much for your continued support. I look forward to our cooperative work. Thank you.
Kathy Watts.
Good morning. My name is Kathy Watts. I'm the Executive Director for the Elmhurst Yorkfield Food Pantry. I'm here this morning to thank the board for your support of the ARPA Produce Program through the Northern Illinois Food Bank. This program has been transformational for our organization. The quality and variety of the produce we're receiving is phenomenal. Our clients are so grateful to be able to receive these fresh, healthy foods. Our pantry has experienced so far this year a 36.5% increase in the number of food distributions. We would not be able to absorb this quantity of new clients and serve them properly without this program. So we thank you immensely. I can't even quantify what this produce program means to our organization. Thank you.
Wendy Michelasi.
Thank you very much. My name is Wendy Mahalski, and I'm the Executive Director of Hinsdale Community Services Food Pantry. We have pantries in both Hinsdale and Willowbrook, and I stand before you with abundant gratitude on behalf of the 350 families that we serve each week. Again, we are serving more families than we ever did at the height of COVID, and we would not be able to provide produce without the ARPA Produce Program through the Northern Illinois Food Bank. To speak to the quality and variety, I'm going to take yesterday's bag. We're a drive-up pantry, so we actually put groceries in people's trunks rather than have them shop. And I just want to share with you, this produce was delivered to us on Thursday. It went out at our Friday distribution, and it also went out yesterday. Absolutely beautiful. Lettuce, potatoes, sweet potatoes, grapes, and grapefruit and apples. Not only was this a healthy array of produce, but the bag itself was absolutely beautiful with all the colors. So thank you so much on behalf of our food pantry and the neighbors we serve.
Julie Yurko,
Hi, good morning. Nice to be here again. I'm Julie Yurko and I'm with Northern Illinois Food Bank. I have to thank the agencies who volunteered to come and speak on behalf of the food bank and the ARPA program that you all have made so generously available to us. These agencies are amazing organizations. They are on the front line serving our families here in DuPage County. They are critical to our work. They care deeply and they work so hard to make DuPage a beautiful, wonderful place for all of our families. And we are so grateful to them from Northern Illinois Food Bank. I wanted to share some more specific numbers for DuPage County with you today. We had talked last time I was here about how the need is very, very real. We just closed our fiscal year at the food bank on June 30th. On average last year, across the 13 counties we served 490,000 neighbors every month, 490,000 neighbors. 121,000 of those neighbors every month on average here in DuPage County. That's almost 25% of the people we're serving are right here in DuPage County. As you've heard, there's been an increase since COVID and since pre-pandemic. For us, since pre-pandemic, it's 65% increase in need. Last year as a network, we distributed 82.4 million meals. 19.9 million of those meals were right here in DuPage County. That's also almost 25% of what we're distributing. That is a 20% growth over last year here in DuPage County. Last year in DuPage County was 16.5 million meals. About half of the growth you can attribute to the ARPA program. More fresh produce going out to these agencies. Nowhere across our 13 counties are we distributing more food or serving more neighbors than right here. What is happening here in DuPage County is tremendous. That makes me very proud. I moved to Winfield in 1999. I live down the street. I have raised my 4 children here. My youngest is a sophomore at Wheaton North High School. I grew up in Elmhurst. DuPage County is really precious to me. I joined the food bank in 2009 when my husband was out of work during the Great Recession. My kids were on free and reduced lunch. They're on the state health care. I know the fear. I understand what it feels like to worry about keeping your house and feeding your family, about worrying about, is your kid going to be teased at Monroe because mom and dad can't buy their lunch? It's very, very personal to me. It's very personal to me. And I give everything I have to this job. And I want to do everything I can to serve DuPage County and the 13 counties that Northern Illinois Food Bank serves. To that end, I want to promise you that we will continue to serve these wonderful agencies that want to be a part of this program with the best high quality, diverse produce we can find. We are reviewing our distribution center with our agencies and looking at our systems at the food bank to see if we can shorten the time from which we're getting the food so we're getting it to them. We're also going to be meeting with agencies that are having trouble finding the food that they need off of our shopping list to make sure that they can get everything they need. And I want to promise you that we will continue to work together with Greg and with Mary and with you, the board, to maximize this program for all of our families. Nothing is done alone. It's all done together. And I want to thank you, the board, and these wonderful agencies for working together with us at Northern Illinois Food Bank to serve our community.
Jackie Hebron,
Okay.
Megan Sheridan,
Hi, my name is Megan Sheridan and I'm here to represent the Itasca Food Pantry. And I guess I want to start by apologizing for not coming sooner. You guys started this ARPA program. It's coming up on a year ago, and I should have been here sooner to say thank you so much. I can't even say the impact. I can't even describe the impact other than I wish I could. I never take pictures of clients, but I wish I could show you pictures of the joy on their face, or they light up in their surprise. And when they see the high quality produce that the funding that you've provided, it's indescribable. And also want to thank you for picking the right partner in the Northern Illinois Food Bank to work on this. they have expertise in procurement, and that's something that we wouldn't be able to get these large quantities of produce in at the pricing and the quality that they are able to. So thank you for your forethought in choosing the right partners and to do the produce part of the program, but also for thinking like there's probably some additional needs, and also for providing the food pantries, the local food pantries, some additional funding to meet the needs, their additional needs. So I just want to really thank you for not only for the funding, but for the thought that went behind on how to spend the money and what the needs are and how to best implement the program. So on behalf of our clients, out of my heart, thank you so much.
Jennifer Fabian,
Good morning. I'm Jenny Fabian with People's Resource Center based right here in Wheaton and serving the entirety of DuPage County. PRC reaches over 25,000 neighbors a year. More this year, we're seeing increases similar to what you've heard about from other organizations, from 30 to 50% of volume in terms of demand for food. Feeding people, offering food is part of our mission and part of our services, but feeding people well and offering people high quality food is part of our values. I can absolutely assure you on behalf of our caring volunteer crew of over 2,000 people and our caring staff, if produce was not extremely high quality through the duration of this program, which has been our experience, I would have been the first to hear about it. Our volunteers will come and tell me if this is not the standard they would set for what they feed their family or how they clothe their family or resources for their family. So I can assure you across our multiple locations, we've had very good experience with the produce we've received from ARPA, and we're very grateful for it. Thank you.
Thank all of you for the work that you do, the passionate work that we can all see that you're doing to help and support our communities. We really appreciate it. The board has received public comment via our online portal per board policy. These comments were provided by members yesterday, so they could be reviewed, and comments submitted electronically will be included in the minutes of this meeting. Okay, on to the consent agenda. I seek a motion to approve the consent agenda items. Okay, we begin with 23-2404 DuPage County Board Minutes, regular meeting, Tuesday, January 27th, 2023. 23-2204, 6/23/2023 auto debit pay list, 23-2209, 6/23/2023 pay list, 23-2231, 6/27/2023 pay list, 23-2250, 6/28/2023 pay list, 23-2278, 6/30/2023 pay list, 23-2327, 7/05/2023 auto debit pay list, 23-2372, 7/7/2023 pay list, 23-2383, 7/11/2023 pay list, 23-2388, 7/11/2023 Corville wire transfer, 23-2401, 7/11/2023 IDOR wire transfer, 23-2224, 6/26/2023 bond payments, 23-2378 county clerk's monthly receipts and disbursement report, June 2023, 23-2392 recorder's office monthly revenue statement, June 2023, 23-2395 change orders to various contracts as specified in the packet. All in favor? Okay, and we will now move to County Board and Member Childress.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning to all. And today I'd like to rise on various appointments and travel requests. I first move on CBR 0083-23, the appointment of Karen Romano to the Water Commission District 4.
It has been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Childress,
Yes.
Covert, Desart, Eckhoff, Evans,
Aye.
Galassi, Garcia,
Aye.
Guston, Krajewski, LaPlante, Ozog, Rutledge, Schwarzy, Tornatori, you, Zay, Cahill, and Chapman.
Aye.
Member Childress.
I second move on CBR 0084-23, the appointment of Margaret Harrell to the Public Board of Health, public member to the Board of Health.
Leave is granted. Member Childress.
Okay, third, I'd like to move on CBR 0085-23, the appointment of Walter Daniel Perez, MD, public member to the Board of Health.
Leave is granted. Member Childress.
Fourth, I'd like to move on CBR dash 0086, the appointment of San Tornatori, County Board member to the Board of Health.
Second most favorable role.
Okay, did somebody have a question? No.
No.
Okay, leave is granted. Member Childress.
Okay. Fifth, I'd like to move on the appointment of Paula Deacon Garcia, County Board member to the Board of Health.
Second most favorable role.
Leave is granted. Member Childress.
Sixth, I'd like to move on 23-2219 for the county board member to attend the National Association of County Annual Conferences in Austin, Texas. Stay cool.
Second most favorable role.
From July 20th through July 23rd, expenses to include transportation, lodging, miscellaneous expenses per diem for approximately $1,420.
Leave is granted. Member Childress.
And seventh and finally, I'd like to move on 23-2220 for county board member to attend the National Association of Counties Annual Conferences in Austin, Texas, from July 2023 through July 23rd, 2023. Expenses to include transportation, lodging, miscellaneous expenses per diem for approximately $1,465.
Second most favorable role.
Leave is granted. Thank you, Member Childress. And
Thank
now
you.
we're moving on to finance and Member Chaplin.
Good morning, Madam Chair. By way of committee report, we're going to postpone our pre-budget meeting until August. Finance is working diligently with our department heads and our elected officials to shore up the budget a little bit more before they bring it forward. So we'll be doing that. And I just want to say what a great way to start our meeting, right? Such a good positive note and all the good that we're able to do with this ARPA money. So with that, I will put my glasses on. And I will move on FIR 011923, acceptance and appropriation of the Illinois Environmental Protection Agency Section non-point source pollution control financial assistant program in the amount of $547,398.
It has been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Chapman,
Aye.
Childress,
Yes.
Covert, Desart, Eckhoff, Evans,
Aye.
Galassi, Garcia,
Aye.
Guston, Krajewski, LaPlante, Ozog, Rutledge, Schwarzy, Tornatori, you,
Aye.
Zay, and Cahill.
Okay, Member Chaplin.
Thank you. I move approval of FIR 016023, additional appropriation for the County Infrastructure Fund, Company 6000, Accounting Unit 1220, $750,000.
Leave is granted. Member Chaplin.
Thank you. I'd like to move approval of FIR 016223, additional appropriation for the GO 2010 Bond Debt Service Fund in the amount of $201.
Leave is granted. Member Chaplin.
Thank you. I move approval of FIR 016323, acceptance and appropriation of the Violent Crime Victims Assistance Program grant in the amount of $36,500.
Leave is granted. Member Chaplin.
Thank you. I move approval of FIR 016423, acceptance and appropriation of the Victims
of Crime Act Child Advocacy Center Service Program Grant in the amount of $67,740.
Leave is granted. Member Chaplin.
Thank you. I move approval of FIR 016523, acceptance and appropriation of the Illinois Home Weatherization Assistance Program State Grant in the amount of $368,599.
Leave is granted. Member Chaplin.
I'd like to move approval of FIR 016623, acceptance and appropriation of the Illinois Weatherization Assistance Program HHS Grant intergovernmental agreement in the amount of $736,590.
Leave is granted. Member Chaplin.
Thank you. I move approval of FIR 016723, budget transfers 7/18/2023 from various companies and accounting units.
Leave is granted. Member Chaplin.
Thank you. I move approval of FIP 001123, recommendation for the approval of a contract issued to Titan Image Group for property assessment mailers for the supervisor of assessments from July 18th, 2023 through July 17th, 2024 in the amount of $172,920.
Leave is granted. Member Chaplin.
Thank you. I'd like to move approval of FIP 001223, recommendation for the approval of contract issued to Mizru Financial Investment Company to provide 457 plan related services, including strategic plan design and fiduciary services for the county for a period of August 1st, 2023 through July 31st, 2026 for a contract total not to exceed $162,000.
Leave is granted. Member Chaplin.
Thank you. I move approval of FIO 000423, ordinance determining the compensation of the county to public defender.
Leave is granted. Oh, is there a question?
I do have a question, Madam Chair. During finance today, we talked about increasing the 90%. I believe Member Zay brought this up, or Member Krajewski, and I'm just wondering what the path forward is to change this ordinance and to possibly look into increasing. Thank you.
I'm working to look at the other comparable public defender salaries. When I have that, I will send that to the board for your guys' review. But if it's something you'd like, we can do it as a, there's no set date where we have to set it. We can change it throughout the year.
Oh, okay, so we could redo this
Yes,
ordinance at a later time. All right, thank you.
Definitely recommend that this is approved today, so we're in compliance with state law, and we can come back at any time that this board wants it to increase.
Gotcha. Thank you so much. Just making sure.
Okay, Member Ozog.
Jason, just a question. Do we have to, is this a minimum amount?
Yes, ma'am.
And then do we have to do an ordinance or resolution to increase the salary?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
Fine. That, yes, it's fine.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Leave is granted. Member Chaplin.
Thank you. I move approval of 2265, supervisor of assessment staff to attend a continuing education seminar conducted by the Illinois Property Assessment Institute in Moline, Illinois, from August 6, 2023 to August 8, 2023, for expenses not to include $1,050.
Leave is granted. Member Chaplin.
Thank you. And finally, I move approval of 232405 FIR 001721C, ratification of a side letter agreement between the County of DuPage, the DuPage County Sheriff, and the Metropolitan Alliance of Police, Chapter 126.
Leave is granted. Thank you, Member Chaplin.
Thank you.
Okay, Animal Services, Member Krajewski.
Just real quick, 1 o'clock today, we have the groundbreaking on a new facility. Hopefully everybody can make it.
Okay. And Development, Member Tonatoy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move approval of 23-2391 DCO 30A-23. It's an amending ordinance DC 3023 zoning and such scrivener's error.
It has been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Tornatori.
Aye.
You.
Aye.
Zay. Aye. Cahill. Chaplin.
Aye.
Childress.
Yes.
Covert. Desart. Eckhoff. Evans.
Aye.
Galassi. Garcia. Guston. Krajewski. LaPlante. Ozog. Rutledge. And Shorzy.
Okay, thank you, Member Tonatory. And Economic Development, Member LaPlante.
Thank you, Chair. I move to discharge the Economic Development Committee with regards to agenda items 23-2399, 23-2402, and 2402, which are authorizations for a total of 3 workforce business service team. That was, sorry, pardon me, 23-2403 is the last one. 3 workforce business service team members to attend apprenticeship grant training boot camp held in Bloomington, Normal, Illinois from August 8th to August 9th, 2023. Expenses to include transportation, lodging, and per diems for a total not to exceed $383 per team member.
Okay. Do I have a motion? Okay, it has been moved and seconded to discharge Economic Development Committee for the agenda items 12A through 12C. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Member LaPlante.
Excuse me, point of order. You have to move to approve the items, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, now I move to approve. Okay, Joan, is that correct? All right, I move to approve items. Should I do them individually? 23-2399, 23-2402, and 23-2403? Okay, perfect. Wonderful. Thank you.
Okay.
Do you want me to do them each individually?
That's correct. Now that the
Okay.
committee's been discharged, you'll just do them as if they all went to committee individually.
Perfect.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, let's slow this down. I move to approve 23-2399. Authorization for a workforce business service team member to attend apprenticeship grant training boot camp. Expenses to include transportation, lodging, and per diems for a total not to exceed $383.
It has been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
LaPlante,
Aye.
Ozog, Rutledge. Shorzy. Tornatori. You.
Aye.
Zay. Cahill. Chaplin.
Aye.
Childress.
Yes.
Covert.
Aye.
Desart. Eckhoff. Evans.
Aye.
Galassi. Garcia. Guston. And Krajewski.
Member LaPlante.
Thank you. Move to approve item 12B, 23-2402, authorization for a workforce business service team member to attend apprenticeship grant training boot camp held in Bloomington, Normal, Illinois. Expenses to include transportation, lodging, and per diems for a total not to exceed $383.
Leave is granted. Member LaPlante. Whoops. Member Desart.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You know, in, I believe it was the Human Services Committee, we brought up an idea that we hired the department chairs and then we trust them to send their people out to trainings and whatever travel they need. And it just seems like $383 is a little low to be having to vote on this. So we were talking about the idea, the concept of having a travel minimum, like $2,000 where we vote on it. Now, I know when board members or you chair go to a NACO convention or board members travel, I know that has to go through our approval process here on the board floor. But I mean, some of these numbers for travel are so low and they're so necessary. I mean, these are trainings that our people need. I'm just wondering if this would be a good conversation to have on maybe not sending it through board approval anymore and just trusting our department heads to make these determinations to a certain dollar level. Just an idea. Thank you.
If I may, Madam Chair. Thank you, members. Sorry, actually, when this was brought up last, we started having a conversation upon reviewing the travel policy. The auditor's office had a couple comments in regards to a few portions of it. So we've just gone through, I have a draft that was sent to the auditor, state's attorney. We're going to work with a few of our other departments yesterday. So hopefully we have something for you either at the next meeting or the meeting after. However, 2,000 is a different number than I heard last. So at least that's some direction. If people want that, we can go that route.
I appreciate that. Thank you, Jason.
No problem.
Okay, leave is granted. Member LaPlante.
Now, did we vote on that? Or we did leave it granted. Okay, thank you, Jason, for explaining it. I move to approve item 12C, 23-2403, authorization for a workforce business service team member to attend apprenticeship grant training boot camp held in Bloomington, Normal, Illinois from August 8th to August 9th, 2023. Expenses to include transportation, lodging, and per diems for a total not to exceed $383.
Leave is granted. Thank you, Member
Thank
LaPlante.
you.
And environmental and Member Rutledge.
Thank you, Chair Conroy. Last week, we recorded the highest temperatures ever. Death Valley was reporting it was going to be 130 degrees on Sunday. So my message this morning is to urge us all to find every possible way we can to limit greenhouse gases and do more. Compost your food scraps, drive less, ride a bike, all of those things. But as a county, we need to have a renewed focus on doing all we can for our environment. This is dire, and we cannot just sit here and go, not me. because it's going to start coming to the Midwest pretty soon too. So thank you all. I appreciate your efforts on that matter.
Thank you, Member Rutledge. And Human Services and Member Schwarzy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First, I want to thank Chairwoman and this board, along with staff, for hosting the Transformational Partnership Award ceremony this morning. You know, the effect that 1.3 million is going to have on our community is palpable. And I tell you, everyone sitting here today should feel very proud of what we did this morning. So, and thank you to Joan for all your hard work, put this whole thing together. Thank you and all the staff. I also want to mention that at finance, under old business, I was going to talk a little bit about food pantries, but time was a little bit short. So I will be talking about our meetings. Myself, Vice Chair Garcia, and our Director Mary Keating met with. We had 2 meetings with 2 separate groups of food pantries. I'll be discussing that under old business today. So we'll share some of the feedback that we got and what our plan is. So that being said, I make a motion to approve item HSP 6223, a recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to Professional Medical and Surgical Supply Inc. to furnish and deliver ostomy, tracheostomy, urological and enteral supplies and services, Med B, and eternal feeding formulas for the DuPage Care Center for the period July 30th, 23 through July 29th, 24, for a total contract not to exceed $72,000 under bid renewal 2240 DCC, the first of 3 one-year optional renewals.
It has been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Schwarzy,
Aye.
Tornatori, you,
Aye.
Katsay, Cahill, Chaplin,
Aye.
Childress,
Yes.
Covert, Desart, Eckhoff, Evans,
Aye.
Velasi, Garcia, Dustin, Krajewski, LaPlante, Ozog, and Rutledge.
Okay, thank you, Member Schwarzy.
Thank you. I move on item HSP 6323, a recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to Medline Industries Inc. to provide various linens for the DuPage Care Center for the period August 10th, 23 through August 9th, 24, for a contract total not to exceed $72,000. Contract pursuant to the Intergovernmental Cooperation Act, Omnia Partners Cooperative.
Leave is granted. Member Schwarzy.
I move on item HSP 6423, a recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to Alpha Baking Company to provide assorted sliced breads, rolls, and sandwich buns for the DuPage Care Center, JTK Administration Building, JOF Building Cafes for the period August 5th, 23 through August 4th, 24, for a contract total not to exceed $37,000.
Leave is granted. Member Schwarzy.
I move on item 232325 FMP 0103-822, an amendment to resolution FMP 010322 issued to Door Systems, ASSA Abloy US Inc. for preventative maintenance and repair services for automatic and manual doors with threshold closers as needed for county facilities or facilities management, for a change order to include the DuPage Care Center and increase the contract in amount of $35,000, resulting in a new contract amount not to exceed $95,780, an increase of 57.58%.
Leave is granted. Member Schwarzy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move to combine items 14E through 14K, which are all travel requests.
Leave is granted. What do I do? Okay, it has been, yeah, can we roll call, please? Or all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you. I move to approve item 2362, a travel request for the Community Services Manager to attend the mandatory regional Ombudsman quarterly meeting and long-term care advisory group meeting for senior services in Springfield, Illinois, from July 11, 23 through July 13, 23. Expenses to include transportation, lodging, and per diems for the approximate total of $560. I move to approve item 2363, travel request Community Services Manager to attend the National Adult Protective Services Conference to learn the most current trends in adult protective services in Boston, Massachusetts, from August 27, 23 through August 31st, 23. Expenses to include registration, transportation, lodging, miscellaneous expenses, and per diems for the approximate total amount of $2,506.50. I move to approve item 2363, a travel request for Community Services Case Manager to attend the National Adult Protective Services Conference to learn the most current trends in adult protective services in Boston, Massachusetts, from August 27, 23 through August 31st, 23. Expenses to include registration, transportation, lodging, miscellaneous expenses, and per diems for the approximate total of $2,516.50. Move to approve item 23-2365 travel request. 6 employees working with the Low Income Home Energy Assistance Program will travel to Springfield, Illinois for the annual LIHEAP mandated grant training pertaining to the 2024 funding for the state and federal LIHEAP PIPP grants from August 7, 23 through August 8, 23. Expenses to include lodging, miscellaneous expenses, 1 car rental to drive all 6 staff to training, and per diems for approximate combined total cost of $1,463. Move to approve item 23-2366 travel request. Community Services Administrator to attend the annual weatherization roundtable put on by DACO and IACAA to discuss weatherization strategic plan for the state of Illinois and Springfield, Illinois from July 19, 23 through July 20th, 23. Expenses to include lodging and per diems, the approximate total of $186. Move to approve item 23-2367 a travel request for Community Services Supervisor to attend the annual weatherization roundtable put on by DACO and IACAA to discuss weatherization strategic plan for the state of Illinois and Springfield, Illinois from July 19th through July 20th of 2023. Expenses to include lodging, miscellaneous expenses, and per diems for the approximate total of $261. Finally, I move to approve item 23-2368 a travel request for 4 community development staff to attend the National Association for County, Community, and Economic Development Annual Education Conference and Training in Salt Lake City from September 18th, 23 through September 21st, 23. Expenses to include registration, transportation, lodging, miscellaneous expenses, and per diems for approximate total for all 4 employees of $9,261.
I need a motion in a second. Yeah.
I made the motion, right?
Okay, I need a second. Okay. Okay, it has been moved and seconded. Roll call, please. We have to have a roll call.
Shorzy.
Aye.
Tornatore. Aye. You.
Aye.
Zay. Aye. Cahill. Chaplin.
Aye.
Childress.
Yes.
Covert.
Aye.
Desart. Eckhoff. Evans.
Aye.
Galassi. Garcia.
Aye.
Guston. Krajewski. LaPlante. Ozog. And Rutledge.
Okay, thank you, Member Schwarzy. On to Judicial and Public Safety and Member Evans.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Last week, as we can remember, if we can remember last week, we had multiple tornado and flood events. So I wanted to, many of them just some informational items. First, I would like to announce the budget presentation schedule. On August 1st, we will hear from the Coroner's Office and the Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Management. Then on August 15th, we will have our normal meeting at 8 a.m. where we will hear from the 18th Judicial Circuit Court Clerk and an additional special call at 1 p.m. where we will then hear from the 18th Judicial Circuit Court and the Sheriff's Office, the State's Attorney, and the Public Defender. I'm looking forward to hearing everybody's presentations. And as the investigation into the incidents of the June 18th mass shooting in Southeast DuPage County continues, we will likely see a request to cover overtime for the operation. I appreciate the hard work of all our Sheriff's Office, and we fully support their investigation. And at last week's JPS meeting, Lamont Police Chief Mayton presented the DuPage County Sheriff's Office with their Illinois Law Enforcement Accreditation Program, ILEAP Tier 2 award. This highly sought after award required intense amounts of work from the Sheriff's Office to ensure their policy and procedures meet the established criteria set out by the Illinois Association of Chiefs of Police. So congratulations to our Sheriff's Office. Thank you. And with that, I would like to move to approve JPSP 005723, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to Insight Public Sector for the purchase of laptops, desktops, monitors, printers, and small IT equipment for the clerk of the circuit court for a total contract amount of $111,614.
It has been, do we have a question? Member?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just have a quick question on this.
there seems to be a lot of like IT stuff, right? And we sit on the IT committee with Mario. And my question is, do we have some type of umbrella to kind of identify where equipment is, how much equipment we have in departments, what programs might be able to, you know, be useful in one department or another department? At the city, we had one IT department that had the accountability of equipment and programs and budget and all of that stuff. And it might be a loaded question, but maybe it's a question that needs to be asked, even at a courtesy level, because we do have multiple departments with different elected officials. But if the county's IT department can be kind of an umbrella and a holding tank for all of the information and programs that are available in the equipment, maybe we could save some money on it.
No, you're absolutely right. The IT department actually doesn't do that. So we are involved in a lot of those discussions and a lot of the contracts that are created. We are part of the creation of those contracts. We don't have a formal process for all areas because we don't fully manage all of the elected official offices or all departments, but we communicate often about a lot of the different purchases and transactions. In the past, we've asked for all chairs of the committees to communicate to the technology chief that these things are happening so that we can at least present them as FYIs during the tech committee process, which you and I have talked about. We try our best to get involved where we can to negotiate different contracts. We have full visibility on most things that are within our network that we can see and touch.
So is there a possibility that staff in the future might have kind of a policy recommendation that we could kind of look at and pick through and see what might be beneficial? Because there is a lot of duplication a lot of times, and there is equipment sometimes sitting that people don't know is sitting there, plus security and all of that other stuff. So I'd love to see more conversation on it. Thank you.
We can definitely do.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, it has been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Evans.
Aye.
Galassi. Garcia. Justin. Krajewski. LaPlante. Ozog. Rutledge. Shorzy. Tornatori. You.
Aye.
Zay. Cahill. Chaplin.
Aye.
Childress.
Yes.
Covert. Desart.
Aye.
And Echo.
Thank you, Member Evans. Okay, legislative and Member Desart.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You've seen the ads from the Chicago Tribune, Illinois, which bills itself as the middle of everything in an ongoing ad campaign, may also be in the middle of a post-pandemic tourism recovery, which is wonderful news. In Springfield, Governor Pritzker announced last Monday that Illinois is marking a big milestone in pandemic recovery. He announced that Illinois saw our highest ever hotel revenues, those numbers with 111 million visitors spending over $44 billion. The Tribune says that while some metrics still lag, Illinois hotel revenue hit a record $308 million in fiscal year 2023, which ended June 30th, surpassing the previous high of $296 million in fiscal year 2019. Now, here in DuPage County, we fared well as well. Beth Marchetti of the DuPage CVB announced that hotels in DuPage had a strong May. Occupancy ran at 66.6% for the month, with total revenue north of $37 million. In Washington, Congress, of course, is in recess. Same goes for Springfield. The fall veto session will convene October 24th through the 26th and November 7th through the 9th in Springfield. We will have our next legislative committee meeting in late August or early September, whenever Cheryl gets back from Alaska, when we will discuss the county's fall veto session agenda, including some animal rights items like supporting legislation banning the declawing of cats and the devocalization of dogs under Animal Services Chairman Brian Krajewski's leadership. I have invited Mark Ayers from the Illinois Humane Society to Zoom in to discuss those issues, as well as other issues related to companion animals. I also plan to invite our Springfield lobbyists via Zoom to more comprehensively discuss the fall veto session. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Member Desart. And on to Public Works and Member Garcia.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Committee report, I'm just grateful for the staff that the tornado came a little bit close to campus this last weekend, and I guess the building was shaking, so, and the power went off for a little while, so I'm glad that everyone was taking care of what they needed to do and everyone was safe, so just want to say that. I motion for approval of FMP 007323, recommendation for the approval of a contract to WSP's USA Design Inc. to provide on-call professional architectural and engineering services as needed for window design.
Second.
The South Wing Care Center and Construction Administration for the DuPage County Historical Museum masonry and building stabilization, facade and gutter repairs for facilities management for the period of July 18, 2023 through November 30th, 2026 for a total contract amount not to exceed $95,000.
It has been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Garcia,
Aye.
Justin. Krajewski. LaPlante. Ozon. Rutledge. Shorzy. Tornatore.
Aye.
You. Zay. Cahill. Chaplin. Childress. Covert. Desart. Eckhoff. Evans. And Galassi.
Member Garcia.
I move for approval of FMP 007423, recommendation for the approval of a contract to Ashland Door Solutions LLC to provide door maintenance, door sales and installation as needed for county facilities for facilities management for the period of July 19th, 2023 through July 18th,
Second most
2024.
favorable
For
roll.
contract total amount not to exceed $30,000.
Leave is granted. Member Garcia.
I motion for approval of FMP 007523, recommendation for the approval of a contract to Berglund Construction Company for the DuPage County Historical Museum masonry and building stabilization, facade and gutter rebuilding for facilities management for the period of July 18th, 2023 through August 31st, 2024 for a contract total not to exceed $725,000.
Second most favorable roll.
Leave is granted. Thank you, Member Garcia. And Stormwater and Member Zay.
Morning, Madam Chair. For committee update, just want to thank our staff. Obviously, we were suffering through a drought through April and May, and now in June and July, we are now getting our rain. So I want to thank our staff for being out there after the storms. Not only are we checking the flood levels, but we're also checking for down debris in our rivers and streams to make sure they're not blocking the facilities. So I thank them for their efforts. We did operate some of the smaller facilities, so it's good to see water levels back up in the county. With that, I move on SMR 69-23, recommendation to intergovernmental agreement between the County of DuPage and Naperville Park District for intergovernmental cooperation utilizing available resources for partnership projects. This is an ARPA item.
It has been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Zay.
Aye.
Cahill. Chaplin. Childress. Covert. Desart. Eckhoff. Evans. Galassi. Garcia. Justin. Krajewski. LaPlante. Ozog. Rutledge. Shorzy. Tornatore.
Aye.
And you.
Okay, Member Zay.
Madam Chair, I move on SMR 70-23, amendment to resolution SMR 294-22 for a grant agreement with the city of Wheaton for Dorset Flood Improvement Project for an increase of $66,260.
Leave is
$3.
granted. Member Zay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on SMR 71-23, amendment to resolution SMR 10-23, grant agreement to the Village of Hinsdale for Charleston Road Project, an increase of $66,506.
Leave is granted. Member Zay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on SMR 72-23, amendment to resolution SMR 9-23 for grant agreement with the Village of Hinsdale for fifth and grant drainage project for an increase of $87,480.
Leave is granted. Member Zay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on SMP 59-23, enter an agreement between the County of DuPage and Haid Associates for professional engineering services for design stream bank stabilization projects throughout the county for the period July 11th, 2023 through November 30th, 2024. Contract not to exceed $85,000.
Leave is granted. Member Zay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on SMP 60-23, enter an agreement between the County of DuPage and Engineering Resources, professional engineering services, design drainage, stormwater and flood control improvements throughout the county from July 11th, 2023 through November 30th, 2024, not to exceed $200,000.
Leave is granted. Member Zay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on SMP 61-23, approval of contract issued to Earthworks Improvement and Development Corporation for Country Club Highland Phase 2 drainage project improvements in the amount not to exceed $2,699,424 per lowest responsible bid.
Leave is granted. Member
Thank
Zay.
you, Madam Chair. I'm going to give this next item to Member Eckhoff, and I'm going to leave the room.
Okay.
See,
Member
thank you, Madam
Eckhoff.
Chair. I would move approval of 23-2356. This is SMP 51A-20 amendment to resolution SMP 5120. Issued to Christopher Burke for hydraulic modeling and floodplain mapping services for the Klein Creek watershed to increase the contract total amount by $46,820, resulting in a new contract of not to exceed $141,820.
Leave is granted. Thank you, Member Eckhoff. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. We need a motion. Oh, because he left, right? Okay. Okay. Has it been moved and seconded? Okay, roll call, please.
Eckhoff,
Aye.
Evans, Galasi, Garcia, Guston, Krajewski, LaPlante, Ozog, Rutledge, Schwarzy, Tornatori, you, Zay, Cahill, Chaplin, Childress, Covert, and Desart.
Okay, thank you, Member Eckhoff and Member Zay. And right, on to strategic planning and Member Colbert.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Very done. We'll be launching the social pinpoint site by next week, kicking off our community outreach. And also, Member Childress and I spoke about getting a head start on the complete count committee. I invite Member Childress's input and initiative. I think it's a great idea of getting a head start on expanding possibly our complete count committee for the next census. I know it's far away, but if we plan right now, we could have another successful census here. And since we do meet quarterly, we may not have, we may have the same committee update as of 2 weeks ago. So I can work with, I'll be working with staff to see if maybe we could put this quarterly committee maybe on an as needed basis and then have the relevant information available as needed.
Thank you, Member Covert. And technology and Member you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. For my committee update, I wanted to let you know that the Tech Committee had a special presentation at our July 11 regular meeting by our CIO, Anthony McPherson, on IT project updates and on AI, artificial intelligence. As you know, AI is an exciting field of technology, and I thank Anthony and our subject matter experts who tutored us on the basics of AI, ChatGPT, how we can use AI at the county level, including with strategic planning, constituent feedback, community engagement, and also what we are doing at the county level in response. Thank you to Chair Conroy and to board members who did attend that presentation. In response to Member Guston's comments, I just wanted to let you know that I do frequently speak with our IT staff regarding whether tech items outside of the purview of the tech committee, that those items are properly negotiated, that those items are purchased at a reasonable price. And I've been told more than once that with regard to elected officials, certain elected officials have their own IT departments. They don't fall necessarily under the tech committee, but it is always a courtesy that we request that those departments always speak to communicate with and collaborate with our tech department here at the county. Finally, I move on to EP 005723, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to CDW Government for the annual maintenance and support of Veritas Net Backup software for information technology. This contract covers the period of September 24, 2023 through September 23, 2024 for a contract total amount of $57,694.48.
It has been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
You,
Aye.
Zay, Cahill, Chaplin,
Aye.
Childress, Covert, Desart, Eckhoff, Evans, Galasi, Garcia, Guston, Krajewski, LaPlante, Ozog, Rutledge, Schwarzy, and Tornator.
Okay, thank you, Member you, and Transportation and Member Ozog.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
By way of report, first of all, I want to also thank all of our employees who have been helping out during these recent weather events that we've been having. Feast or famine, no rain, and then too much rain, but thank you so much. Also, today we signed an agreement with the Illinois Prairie Path Corporation. I'm a 37-year neighbor to the Prairie Path, and it's one of the best, most wonderful recreational resources we have here in DuPage. I especially want to thank Sid Kenyon of our transportation staff. This agreement that we approved today turns over all of the various improvements that the Illinois Prairie Path Corporation has made to the Prairie Path over the last 60 years. The Illinois Prairie Path is actually 60 years old this year. It's one of the first rail to trail conversions in the country. And they've added various improvements, benches, et cetera, over the years. But we now own everything on the Prairie Path, the path improvements, et cetera. And they are here now to be our wonderful helpers and do wonderful things like the cleanups, et cetera. So really appreciate their efforts, and I appreciated the president of the group, Dennis Sturdy, being here earlier today. Okay, I am going to start my report here, or my report. Okay, let's go. Somebody set the timer. Okay, I move to combine items 21A, B, and C.
All in favor?
Aye. Okay, I move for approval of 23-2243 amendment to resolution DTP 024-1A20 issued to V3 companies for professional design engineering services for improvements along County Highway 23 Naperville Road to increase the funding by the amount of $46,813.18, resulting in an amended contract total amount of $633,222.91, an increase of 7.98%. Okay. I move for approval of DTR 024-2B21 amendment to resolution DTR 024-2A21 issued to H&H Electric Company for mast arm replacement and traffic signal and modification at various intersections within DuPage County to increase the funding in the amount of $1,098.82, resulting in an amended contract total amount of $624,702.37, an increase of 0.18%. I move for approval of 23-2286, amendment to resolution DTR 0172B22 issued to K5 Construction for the 2022 Pavement Maintenance South Program section to increase the funding in the amount of $150,000, resulting in an amended contract total of $4,947,388.59, an increase of 3.19%.
It has been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Ozog,
Yes.
Rutledge. Shorzy. Tornatore. You. Zay. Cahill. Chaplin.
Aye.
Childress. Yes. Covert.
Aye.
Desart. Eckhoff. Evans. Galassi. Garcia. Guston. Krajewski. And LaPointe.
Okay, Member Ozog.
I misspoke. We're about to approve the Prairie Path Agreement. I move for approval of DTR 007423, the agreement between the County of DuPage and the Illinois Prairie Path and not-for-profit corporation for maintenance and stewardship of the Illinois Prairie Path.
Leave is granted. Member Ozog.
I move for approval of DTR 007523, condemnation authorization for right-of-way acquisition along County Highway 3 Warrenville Road over the East Branch DuPage River.
Leave is granted. Member Ozog.
I'm sorry. I move for approval of DTR 007623, grant of easement from County of DuPage to the City of Aurora at the southwest corner of Bilter Road and North Eola Highway, necessary to construct a right turn lane and sidewalk.
Leave is granted. Member Ozog.
I move for approval of DTR 007723, letter of understanding between the County of DuPage and the Illinois Department of Transportation for the establishment of mutual covenants regarding the improvements of Illinois 56 Butterfield Road from west of Illinois 53 to west of I-355 and at Illinois 53, including replacement of the bridge carrying Illinois 56 multi-use path over the East Branch of the DuPage River, no county cost.
Leave is granted. Member Ozog.
Thank you. I move to combine items 21H through P. These are all approvals of contract awards.
Okay, all in favor?
Okay. Okay, thank you. I move for approval of DTP 008023, recommendation for the approval of a contract to Lytle Industries of Ohio or Enterprises of Ohio to furnish and deliver roll-up signs as needed for the Division of Transportation for the period July 19th, 2023 through July 18th, 2024 for a contract total not to exceed $40,020 per lowest responsible bid. Move for approval of DTP 008123, recommendation for the approval of a contract to Mandel Metals Incorporated, doing business as Standard Sign Company, U.S. Standard Sign Company, to furnish and deliver aluminum sign blanks as needed for the Division of Transportation for the period July 19th, 2023 through July 18th, 2024, for a contract total not to exceed $49,667.88 per lowest responsible bid. Move for approval of DTP 008223, recommendation for the approval of a contract to Superior Asphalt Materials LLC to furnish and deliver bituminous paving materials and UPM bituminous cold patch as needed for the Division of Transportation for the period August 1st, 2023 through March 31st, 2024, for a contract total not to exceed $61,400 per lowest responsible bid. I move for approval of DTP 008323, recommendation for the approval of a contract to Lytle Industries Enterprises of Ohio to furnish and deliver sign faces as needed for the Department of Transportation for the period July 19th, 2023 through July 18th, 2024, for a contract total not to exceed $65,107.67 per lowest responsible bid. Move for approval of DTP 008423, recommendation for the approval of a contract to MDS Solutions to furnish and deliver signposted materials as needed for the Division of Transportation for the period July 19th, 2023 through July 18th, 2024, for a contract total not to exceed $75,461.20 per lowest responsible bid. Move for approval of DTP 008523, recommendation for the approval of a contract to Lytle Enterprises of Ohio to furnish and deliver reflective sheeting rolled goods as needed for the Division of Transportation for the period July 19th, 2023 through July 18th, 2024 for a contract total not to exceed $90,000 per lowest responsible bid. I move for approval of DTP 008623, recommendation for the approval of a contract to Robinson Engineering for professional design engineering services for the replacement of the DuPage County fuel facility for the period July 18th, 2023 through November 30th, 2025, for a contract total not to exceed $170,874.63. Professional services vetted through a qualification-based selection process. I move for approval of DTP 008723, recommendation for the approval of a contract to CIT Trucks LLC to furnish and deliver one semi-tractor for the Division of Transportation for a contract total not to exceed $177,526.41 per Sourcewell contract. And I'm finally move for approval of DTP 008823, recommendation for the approval of contract to Rush Truck Centers of Illinois for the purchase of 8 plow trucks and snow and ice equipment for the Division of Transportation for a contract total not to exceed $2,664,040 per Sourcewell contract.
It has been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Ozon,
Yes.
Rutledge. Shorzy. Tornatori. You.
Yes.
Zay. Cahill. Chaplin.
Aye.
Childress.
Yes.
Covert. Desart. Eckhoff. Evans. Galasi. Garcia. Dustin. Krajewski. And LaPlante.
If anyone's looking for an auctioneer, I would suggest member Ozog. Thank you
Chair.
very much.
A new career direction.
Okay, and is there any discussion on 23-2400? Seeing none, we'll go on to old business. Our state's attorney, Bob Berlin, has asked to address the board briefly during old business.
Thank you, Chair Conroy, and good morning again. So at the last county board meeting on June 27th in old business, Member Desart had brought up a recent case where we charged the Naperville police officer with official misconduct based on improper use of the LEADS, which is a law enforcement agency data system, a class 3 felony, and compared it to a case where two deputy sheriffs in DuPage County had improperly used the Index and Leap systems, which are two different law enforcement data systems. It mentioned an article in the Naperville Sun in September of 2022 and an article in the Patch of October 2022. And stated transparency, accountability is important, even as we hold ourselves accountable and those of our own accountable. So my question for the sheriff and the state's attorney is, why weren't Lieutenant Van Hoos and Deputy Roeder charged with Class 3 felonies as this Naperville police officer was for essentially the same alleged crime? So I'm here today to respond to that. And the reality is this: official misconduct occurs when a public official in his or her official capacity knowingly performs an act he or she knows to be prohibited by law. The case against the Naperville police officer is based upon improper use of the LEADS system, and there's an Illinois administrative code that governs the LEADS network and how it can be used. And you need a law violation as a predicate for an official misconduct. Violations of rules and regulations not enacted as ordinances can never be the basis for official misconduct. That is the law from the Illinois Supreme Court in People versus Griever, where they stated the official misconduct statute requires that the charging instrument specify the actual law allegedly violated by the officer or employee in the course of committing the offense. And the indictment must, at a minimum, allege facts that would show the public official violated an identifiable statute, rule, regulation, or tenet of a professional code. Violations of department rules and regulations may be the basis for disciplinary action, but not for criminal charges. That is why the two deputies, the DuPage County deputies, were not charged with a crime, because the reality is they did not commit a crime, and we don't charge people with crimes when they haven't committed one. So I wanted to address that. I spoke with Member Dessart after the statement at the last county board meeting. And what I said to her is true of all of you. If you ever have questions about any legal matter as it relates to the county, you know how to get a hold of me. I am always available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Thank you.
Member Dessart, did you have a question?
I did. I just wanted to clarify. And then Bob and I did talk. He called me after the meeting. We had a nice discussion. So what you're saying is the DuPage County deputies violated policy, but it wasn't criminal.
That's
inaction,
correct.
But they violated policy, but didn't break any laws.
Correct.
And the Naperville police officer charged, allegedly, he hasn't been found guilty yet, but allegedly acted criminally.
Right. The charge against the Naperville police officer is based on a violation of Illinois law, not just policy. That's what allows the official misconduct charge. Sure. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And we're gonna have Lisa Smith, Chief of the Civil Bureau of the State's Attorney's Office. Lisa will present the DuPage County Board parliamentary procedures. Hey, where you going?
They know already how exciting this will be. So I'm here this morning because I know a few weeks ago it was brought up that maybe just a refresher, so I'm going to be very brief in just providing some of the basics. The first one is which rule actually applies. And I've noted 3 sections of the DuPage County rules of the county board that actually apply first, and then if the rules are, our rules are silent, then we would go to Robert's Rules of Order newly revised. So we look to our rules first, then Robert's rules. So, and just Robert's Rules is not really a legal book. It's just a rule about meetings. Oh, yeah. We're both doing Vanna here.
Just be in your Vanna.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Just one note too about the rules, the board rules, and we've had this a couple times for going through a meeting can be modified at a meeting or suspended, not modified, suspended with 2/3 vote if it's necessary. And we've done that a couple of times here, and I just want to remind people of that. Next, meeting agendas. How do those get set? The chair is responsible for preparing the agenda. Anything that a committee chair recommends within 20 days needs to be put on the agenda. Another way, sometimes we've talked about member initiatives. That's when 6 members of the board come together. Typically, the best way to handle that is to have a signed, prepared document that they're all in support of, and then we put that on the agenda as well. And then the other way that we can do that is if you were on the prevailing side, you can bring a motion to reconsider at the next meeting immediately following the meeting where that vote took place. So those are some of the basic ways that the agenda is prepared. As far as procedures generally, most things are brought by a motion that allows this body to take action on a certain event or certain item. I should go back on the motion. When it's better to just make the motion instead of ask for a motion. Sometimes we get a little confused. Someone will ask for a motion, so then we actually need a motion and then another second. So it's better to just move right away. It's just probably more efficient. And then the second, if you are the person that seconds, you're not saying that you're in favor or not, you're just allowing it to continue to the debate for. And then once we get to debate, all members who, are recognized by the chair can be allowed to address the matter at hand. Next, we go on to voting on the matter. So once there's been the matter's been moved and seconded, we know that there's yays, nays. But I want to bring up, today we had a member abstain, and you should be recognized by the chair when you do so. And that's whenever you're not sure if there's a conflict. Probably if there is a question about a conflict, you can also contact the county ethics advisor and they can advise if it's something that you should abstain in. But it's careful, if the chair doesn't recognize that you're either leaving the room or abstaining, you should make sure that they put that on the record. So it's clear that you did abstain from the conversation and the vote. One thing that came up in Robert's rules and our rules, it's not acceptable to, during your votes, that, when you give an aye vote or a nay vote, to say your reason. You do that during the debate time. And you notice here, obviously you've been doing it all morning. I just want to make clear about how second most favorable role. So it's not it's the person is moving, there's a second most favorable role, and then somebody asks for leave, and then the chair will grant leave. So just so it's 3 steps, just wanted to clarify that. There's been sometimes we've had a whole row participate, so I just wanted to let people know how that should go. It was very coordinated though, I do have to say. So typically we're talking about the main motions that, everybody brings on each agenda item, but there are subsidiary motions and those have to be resolved before we get to the main motion. Typically what we've had here are motions to amend. So I just want to be clear. You could move to amend. You can move to amend the amendment, but then we have to either vote or move on, but then we could go back and amend again. So there's not a limit as to how many times, but we have to address them after we can't have more than 2 amendments to the actual motion. So just, we'll help you out if that comes up, but that's probably the most typical motion that we receive. And it's best always to do it in writing. If you can, it's more clear for the membership to vote on and they know what they're voting on. Debate and decorum. Our county board rules specifically prohibit a member speaking more than once on the same question, unless you're recognized by the chair. And if you're the chair of the committee whose question is being considered, you have the right to open and close debate. So the members also need to behave with decorum. And when we talk about decorum, here's what we're talking about. We're talking about cooperation between the chair and the members. So the chair needs to enforce rules of adequate procedure and debate. Members need to be respectful of the chair as he or she does so, and they need to realize that all rights of membership are equal. Some helpful things maybe to remember when you're in debate. Talk about the policies, not the people behind whatever motion is being presented. To the extent a member has to reference a member of the board, the member should avoid using the member's name. Like you might want to say, okay, well, the member who last spoke, that's probably a innocuous way to refer to something that was just recently raised. You should not carry on discussion between yourselves. You direct all of your comments through the chair. And you should confine your remarks to the pending question. There's always time to go back. I know Member Schwartz wants to go back today during old business. So there's always time to go back if there's something else you wanted to talk about, but keep it limited to what the item that's being debated. So basic rights of the membership of this board: you have right to make motions, to attend meetings, to speak first on a debate when that you've made the motion, to raise points of order and parliamentary inquiries, to have due process, and to not have allegations made against members' good name. And that's all through Robert's Rules of Order as well. On the other hand, we're responsible to make sure you are familiar with the procedural rules governing the body. And that's why I would take a look at, start with our rules, because those are going to be the ones that will apply first. We'll only go to Robert's rules if our rules are silent. You want to obtain the floor before making a motion or speaking in a debate. I think everyone's very respectful about that, and they wait to be recognized by the chair. And again, you want to refrain from debating on matters that really aren't before and pertinent to the motion. Talked about making remarks through the chair. We want to refrain from attacking or questioning the motives of other members, or refrain from referring to them by name. And again, I can't reiterate that enough. And then in the event that the chair is going to, rise to give other information or something specific, then you should yield to the chair. If you're standing up, you would sit down just to be respectful and let the chair finish whatever comments or additional information she needs to provide on a particular topic. The chair is responsible for opening the meeting, announcing the next order of business, recognizing who's entitled to speak on a matter, stating questions, putting them to votes, refusing recognition of, things that are just caused intent to delay. She can refuse to recognize that. To enforce order and decorum, as we've discussed, and to expedite business and decide all questions of orders. And finally, close meetings. So those are the basic responsibilities of both members and the chair. One last page, trying to do this fast. I know you guys have a lot to do. Other board rules. I think these are fairly common ones, but probably bear repeating. Motion to receive and place on file, just acknowledging receipt. That's all it's doing. You see that at your meetings regularly. Closing the debate. To terminate the debate, that requires a 2/3 vote. And what you really want to say there is, shall the main question now be put? That's the appropriate way. That's what our rules provide. That's how we end the debate and go on to the vote. If we want to postpone something indefinitely, that requires a second, and it is debatable and subject to renewal. It is not subject to a motion to reconsider. And again, when some of these special topics come up, we'll be prepared to let you know as far as what the vote requirement is and whether there can be debate on it. You are permitted to withdraw a motion at any time, even after it's already been discussed, as long as the vote has not been taken. We talked about the most favorable roll call. I think everyone's got that down after this morning, right? And I think that's all I had. These are just the basic topics. And you know what, if you, I really encourage you, if you have a question or you're not sure, we try to, obviously, I know that we've talked to some people if we need to, have some kind of special rule in a place, and we know that you need to waive something or we'll waive reading or do something like that. Please feel free to contact us beforehand and we'll make sure that we can address it so you're ready to go at the meeting and there's no hesitation and no questions, and we've researched it. We're happy to do that. That's what we're here for. So I don't have anything further, and I know that you have a lot going on. I know I have to address the board in executive session, so if you want to submit questions or however you want to do it.
Okay, Member Garcia.
I just
quickly.
had thank you so much for the presentations today. What was the way to close a debate again with the correct wording? I missed that.
If you want to call the question,
Yes,
but, right, it'll be, shall the main question now be put? It's like how, if you want to end the debate.
motion to terminate the debate. Thank you.
And that's on page 38 of your rules.
Okay, Member LaPlante.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you so much, Lisa. I appreciate this presentation. Can you please, can we have a copy of those? Can
Oh,
you
of
send
course.
that PowerPoint to us?
Yes.
That would be really helpful. And then how would you like us to handle it if we have a question about the county board rules or Robert's Rules of Order during a meeting? Can you advise us on how would be the best practices in that situation?
Probably if you have a question, you know, if you know, like right before that there might be an issue, you know, maybe if you could just come up and see us. That's probably the easiest way, because then we could make sure everybody's on the same page before the meeting starts. If it comes up during the meeting, then the best way is you just have to ask to be addressed by the chair. But if it's beforehand, we could, you know, work it out, and we're happy to do that.
Okay, thank you. And then just to piggyback on a previous question, can you explain if someone is trying to end a debate, but and I know we can all look it up on, but it's not as simple as that. Does that need a vote or does that need a majority? Can you
It's
please?
a 2/3.
2/3 majority. Yeah, okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you, Lisa. And I believe Member Schwartzy, did you have something?
For
On
old
old
business,
business?
yes. So, thank you, Madam Chair. So as part of the Human Services ongoing needs evaluation of our $5 million food program, Vice Chair Garcia and Director Mary Keating and myself had two meetings, two separate meetings over the course of the last few weeks. We first met with some small 501c3 food pantries, and then a week later, we actually met with the 6 township food pantries. And I would like to say at that meeting, we invited our chairwoman, Conroy. She was in attendance, as well as 3 representatives from the Northern Illinois Food Bank. So with regards to the townships meeting, the great thing was all 6 pantries were represented. And we heard some of the same concerns that they expressed at our previous board meeting with the quality of the produce. A couple of them anyway, a couple of them had some of those same concerns. There were 3 townships attending that did not share that concern, said they were very satisfied with the quality of their food. It was in general agreement in the group, however, they would prefer to have direct funding so that they could source the produce themselves. I will say this with the meeting with the 501c3 nonprofit food pantries, you actually heard some of their comments here today. They had nothing but glowing remarks. So we were very happy to hear that. You know, we do recognize the concerns from those who we've heard them. So as we continue to work to resolve this issue, we're considering a 2-tiered approach. We would allow any township that wished to opt out of the produce program and receive a proportion of the funding that we've allocated for that food. And it's based on the relative number of people they are serving as compared to all the other food pantries in DuPage. So this funding would come out of the 1.75 million that remains of the $5 million in ARPA funds that we have allocated for food assistance. So not every township wanted to be removed from this. So it's on an individual basis. So now, with some of the townships no longer receiving the produce deliveries from the food bank, we would then ask the food bank to reallocate that produce to the nonprofit food pantries that are asking for more. We also plan to provide grants to townships and nonprofit pantries to buy refrigerators, forklifts. So I know that has been talked about in the past. That is still in the plans. Which would really any other type of equipment that would improve their ability to receive and store and distribute food. So before we bring any formal agreements to the finance and the board, I wanted to get the general consensus of the members here, if they would support basically doing what I said, what I just suggested. So
Member Ozog.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My concern would be documentation. If you're going to, what kind of documentation might you be talking about? If they were to waive out and then the townships were purchasing their own, I'm just a little concerned.
Well, the townships, like all of the food pantries, are already receiving specific allocations of dollars. And they are required to provide receipts
Okay,
to the finance committee. There's a portal where they upload it, but they're already in that process. So we've already made the decision. We had a contract with for 1.75 million with the Northern Illinois Food Bank. We have also allocated $1.5 million in direct funding to 22 different agencies. So that process already exists. The documentation requirements wouldn't change. It
okay,
would just
so,
be that the townships would be getting an additional level of funding.
and so the documentation would just be piggybacked on top of what?
It would be the
others-
exact same that they're
Okay,
already
thank you.
following. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, member you.
So related to what Member Shorzy just talked about, and thank you for that update, actually. I just wanted to provide my firsthand witness account with regard to the local produce at the food pantries. My family and I volunteered for the Elmhurst Yorkfield Food Pantry this past Saturday in Bensonville, and their mobile food pantry serves over 300 Latinx families. And they receive food directly from the Northern Illinois Food Bank as well. And I swear I did not know Kathy Watts was going to be here to make her public comment, but I really appreciated the public comments. And let me just say that the produce that I saw and my family saw was so fresh and attractive that my younger son repeatedly asked to take bites out of the fruit. And I had to, physically stop him because it was that good. So I just really wanted to say that whatever you guys are doing, keep on doing it. Thank you.
Okay, member Guston.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I think at our last meeting, we did talk about freezers, right? Not just refrigerators, because we're going to be going into the winter months, and frozen fresh food, fruit and vegetables is phenomenal. And to have it available to people, I think is important, and it gives it a longer shelf life. So we may want to try to focus more on that than we got to get fresh produce right from the farmer today or tomorrow, because the reality is, in time, in a few months, the farmers aren't going to have anything. It's all going to be snowed over. So hopefully there's a budget for those food pantries to be able to get more of that equipment so that they can have more available.
Right. And as Member Shorzy said, we are talking about doing an application for equipment. He didn't list out all the specific, but certainly refrigeration, freezers, shelving, a van to transport food. We're open to whatever equipment whatever equipment they might need that would help them accept, store, and distribute all kinds of commodities. So yes.
Okay,
So consensus that we're okay doing this. And I'll work with Mary. We'll come back with finance, and we'll come back with something at our next meeting.
okay. Thank you, member Shorzy. And I would say from all these meetings and the small issues that we had that were resolved, thank you, member Shorzy. Thank you, Mary Keating. I think the one thing that we did learn exponentially is that food insecurity is rising like crazy. So I think it's something that we all need to be aware of and conscious of, because it's a big issue globally, and we're going to be facing it in DuPage County as well. Okay, anybody in new business?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, member Kajewski.
Thank you. And this prior conversation picks up a little bit on it. We've given out 3 rounds of grants now through the DuPage Foundation, $6.2 million over the last year and a half. And this is just staff to give me some questions back to me. I don't need it now, but I noticed there's only been like 53 grants given out. Several of them have gotten all 3 rounds, and there's been, I think, at least I just looked quickly, 7 of them that got multiple rounds. So I gotta believe there's a lot of charities out there that, but we're seeing the DuPage Foundation seems to be giving a lot of them to the same ones each time. So one, I'd like to know how many are applying, because I've heard of people turned down. And this last example we just talked about is a good example. In 2021, when ARPA came out, food security was one of the main issues. This board thought we were doing that by giving out money. And in that first round, a year and a half ago, I came to find out last year when this food issue was coming up that Julie Yurko was here, they put in $1.2 million in that first round for fresh produce. And it was denied because it didn't fit their criteria, but unbeknownst to board, it was a year later. And now we heard today on how great all this food produce and except was, we got that out. But I don't know the ones that aren't being funded that are being submitted to the foundation. And maybe there's some other good ones that fit what we want to do. So I would just like staff to at least through the foundation, maybe in Greg and your department, how many have been submitted, which ones have been denied. And I don't know if there's a policy about giving them out to multiple ones. I like that, there's a lot of them need help. But it seems like some of them have got it every time. Some of them got it 2 or 3 times. But I would just like to know the ones that haven't got it, and maybe they are doing stuff that we think is good. I don't know the answer to that. So I just like staff, I just want staff to give us that information on ones that have been submitted and maybe not funded for whatever reason. Thank you.
I think that's a good point. I think it's also important that board members, you're aware of the needs in your own districts and therefore reach out if you feel somebody is not getting the help that they need.
Just to follow up
Member
on what
Eckhoff.
you said, Madam Chairman, I would like some information, I don't know, from Mary or from somebody. I hear about food insecurity and how it's rising. I don't fully understand where we are today with that and where we're expected to go with that. So not necessarily my district, but the entire county, if there's publications or some periodical or some article that I could read, because people are referring to different statistics when they come here and talk, and they seem to be a little bit different, and I'd like to fully understand the issue.
Absolutely. That was brought up while you were out of the room, by the way. Member Galassi.
That was transportation.
Well done.
Member
Thank you,
Galassi.
Chair. I just want to kind of piggyback on what Brian mentioned. I'm actually going to meet with the executive director of Reclaim 13, and she mentioned that you've been out to visit. And in the course of her conversation, she said that she's applied for these grants and has been denied. And she kind of made a quip comment that she's like, maybe I'm just not doing a good job of presenting, during the grant writing process. And she kind of asked for help as to how she could maybe improve to get considered. So I just wanted to mention that, that was just a conversation I had last week, and obviously it's amazing organization that I know you support as well. So if there's any feedback I can give her when I meet with her this week, that'd be wonderful.
Okay, good points for sure. Member Chaplin.
Yeah, thank you. And just to follow up on that a little bit, we do have our smaller grant program too for the smaller nonprofits. And, that might be one, I don't know what Reclaim's revenues are, but that might be another option for our board member initiatives to bring forward because we did set aside that money for those also. And I'm glad you're going out to Reclaim. We went out there a few years ago. It's a great organization. They do a lot of good work, but that's what I would echo what our chair said, understand your district, what the needs are. And even if Reclaim's not in your district, I think you could bring it forward as a possibility for, one of our smaller grants too.
Okay. I did mention that, and she did say that they were above the threshold, so.
Okay. Member Garcia.
Yeah, and I can't get into a lot of specifics, but with the DuPage Foundation, a lot of the applications were asking for employees. And with the ARPA money, we don't have any sustainability with keeping those employees. And so that's an issue. So that might be why some of the newer ones weren't getting picked, because it's great, but this is only through 2026. And then how are they planning to do it after that? So that is something we had to take into consideration. So a lot of these bigger ones are doing it and they have the staff. And so that's one of the issues. I just wanted to make that clear.
Okay, Member Guston.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We do have a lot of wonderful programs, and DuPage Foundation is doing a great job. However, there may be a gray area for some of our not-for-profits that don't fit either the small grant program, and they're not, getting money from the DuPage Foundation. So there might have to be a deep dive into that. I know in District 5, with Naperville being such a big community, that in Aurora, we have so many not-for-profits that the 175 for our district isn't going to cut it. But that's all we have to work with. So maybe there's districts that don't need the one, obviously everybody needs everything, but maybe they don't have as many not-for-profits, where other districts have a lot of not-for-profits. And so those not-for-profits that you're speaking of won't be able to get funding because there's just so many of them out there in that district. So hopefully that's things we can consider moving forward.
Okay, Member Schwartzy, did you want to?
Yeah, thank you. A lot of good discussion here. I will say that, you know, with the first and second round, we did not have any representation. But I believe the DuPage Foundation did an excellent job. It's a very, very difficult task. And Paula and I were on that selection committee this third round. I believe, and don't quote me on these numbers, and I appreciate Member Krajewski's asking for the numbers, but I believe we had 22 applications that we reviewed and we gave out 18. So there wasn't a lot of people turned down, but it is, it's a very, very difficult task. And I want to say that some of the reasons that maybe some of those 4 didn't get it fall into what Member Garcia was saying. Some of it maybe is because it didn't totally fit our 4 parameters, which include, you know, the food security and so forth. But the foundation does an excellent job. The people that are on this selection committee are outstanding. And, you know, we're paying $600,000 for them to do this. And I'm not sure that's enough because of the incredible amount of difficult work this is. So we certainly get these numbers, but I just want to say that it's a difficult task, and I truly believe the foundation is doing an excellent job. Thank you.
I think the need is great. It's very important that you all know your districts and you have the ability to advocate for them. So please don't diminish that ability. Member Krajewski.
I'll just pick this last one up because we're going into the budget season with regards to this. And again, I'm not knocking the foundation. I just want to know other ones that may not got it and what they do. I just would like to be aware of it. But, and Member Garcia had mentioned, some of these do a very good job and they may reason why they're getting it for multiple times. So they are doing a very good job at delivering services to the residents. And I've raised this issue multiple times since Paul Raybeck, our old CFO, had come forward or was here. He came from Will County, but he always talked about Will County because they had some charities like this that were very good at delivering the services, that they actually had them do some of the work that their county, Will County, was doing. He was going to start looking at that before Jeff came in. But as we're going into this budget season, I mean, some of the stuff that we do here may be better and administrative better because these charities that we're helping out do it better than we do. And we always get our highway township guys coming in front of us telling it's cheaper for them to do it than it is for the county, but it's cheaper for the county to do it than the state. It's cheaper for the state to do it than the federal government. But the closer you're down to the people, you know, the more efficient you are. So we may want to look at that coming into the budget process, right? As far as, are there other things that we can have these charities do through us?
Okay, that's old business. Anybody in new business? Member Chaplin?
Yeah, well, this is kind of old business. It's really not much, but I just wanted to give a shout out to Member Torrey and Member Garcia on their appointments to Health Board. And also I want to recognize Candace Adams, our, well, my seatmate over there, Paula, and I'm going to shout out to my other seatmate, Ina Yu, for helping out with the expungement clinic that our circuit clerk court, Candace Adams, put on. So it's really great work that our county board members are doing. And also the circuit clerk just finished her amnesty week, which provided that people could have their fees waived or their late fees waived if they paid their fees in total. So really great programs that we're doing throughout DuPage, and just wanted to recognize and my 2 awesome seatmates who are doing really great work as well. So.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, I'm informed we do have matters before us requiring us to enter into executive session. I'll ask those associated with the executive session to please, not associated, to please exit the room. I will take a motion to go into executive session pursuant to the Open Meetings Act. Okay. Okay, what? Executive session. Pending litigation. It has been moved and seconded. Deputy Clerk, roll call, please.
Evans. 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 roll call for executive session. This is the roll call to go into.
This is roll call to go into executive session, people.
Galassi. Garcia. Guston. Oh, right. So it's a yay or nay to go into executive session, correct? This is the-
No, it's roll call for executive session.
Okay, so roll.
To establish a quorum.
Krajewski. LaPlante. Ozog. Rutledge. Schwarzier. Tornatori. Zay. Cahill. Chaplin.
Aye.